Number one, Dr. Mate utilizes his narrative of victimology as a form of existential credential to speak on behalf of the Palestinians in attacking the evil Jews slash Israelis. Dr. Mate was a 6-month-old infant when, quote, he survived the Holocaust. 6-month-old infants do not have any conscious memories, and as such, to argue that he is a Holocaust survivor stretches credulity and decency. By that standard, a person who was a spermatozoa in his dad's testicles during the Holocaust also survived the Holocaust. It is a form of nonsensical narrative meant to bolster his theory of childhood trauma. What I experienced in the Lebanese Civil War as a 10-year-old and 11-year-old child is infinitely more violent than the unconscious, quote, trauma that he experienced. Yet I don't use my tragic childhood to espouse nonsensical theories. 2. Both Dr. Mate and his son would have been executed if they happened to be on location during the October 7th attack. Many of the killed Israelis were peaceniks who were very sympathetic to the Palestinians. Their infinite suicidal empathy did not protect them from being raped and butchered. 3. I have always stated that a single innocent person who is killed in conflict is a tragedy, whether they are Palestinian, Israeli, or anything else. But this conflict is about a battle of two very different views of how society should be organized. Palestinian society, including Hamas, is animated by a view that would make shish kebab out of Dr. Mate and his son. There is 1400 years of history that suggests that the kuffar, meaning the non-Muslims, are subjugated, raped, converted, and killed. Conservative estimate is hundreds of millions. Hence, Dr. Mate and his son are supporting an ideology that is defined by the genocidal hatred of their heritage. Number 4, if the Israelis wanted to eradicate the Palestinians, they could do it in 15 seconds. Yet every day that the Palestinians do not attack the Jews is a day that peace exists. However, the Palestinians are taught straight out of the womb that Jews must be exterminated. It is their definitional identity. This does not mean that there aren't millions of lovely and peaceful Palestinians, but the society and the ideology that fuels it is defined by genocidal hate. Hence, it is in this sense that I refer to Mate's son as a parasitized wood cricket. He is supporting the ideology that has eradicated endless number of Jews throughout history. 5. There is nothing noble, compassionate, and virtuous about being suicidally empathetic toward those who wish to exterminate you. Mate and his son know nothing about the region, about the tribalism, about the hatred, about the intolerance of the ideology that animates the Middle East. We escaped execution in Lebanon. We lost everything. Our home was stolen by Palestinians. My parents were kidnapped and tortured by Palestinians. Some of my grandparents escaped Syria because of the religion of the Palestinians. My in laws escaped Lebanon for the same reasons. My brother in law's family escaped Egypt because of the religion of the Palestinians. My wife's ancestors were either exterminated or escaped the Armenian genocide due to the religion of the noble Palestinians. Hence, Gabor Maté and his son Aaron can continue to attend the progressive parties in the West, signaling their infinite suicidal empathy. But they are parasitized, useful idiots who would be the first to be exterminated. Their infinite suicidal empathy is not an indulgence that will free them from the firing squad. A strong person with dignity is infinitely kind as a default value, but breathtakingly ruthless to those who wish to eradicate his family's existence. There is nothing noble about the Mate duo. They are uninformed fools engaging in malignant narcissism masquerading as infinite compassion. And now I'm off to the beach, because when I wrote that tweet, I was in Florida. I think I was in Marco Island. And so I was heading off to the beach. I was there for professional reasons, but I was also, my hotel was by the beach. So that's what I think of Gabor Mate. By the way, his theories about trauma are absolute junk, right? Because everything in his view is due to trauma. By the way, again, not that I wish to imply that your only value is, to say something depends on, your credentials in that field, right? I mean, you could have very poignant uh, points to make about the Holocaust without being a Holocaust survivor or a Holocaust historian, right? So I'm not trying to use credentialism here, but he's a run-of-the-mill physician. Shut the fuck up, give me my antibiotics, and leave the heavy thinking for others. You know nothing about psychology. Nothing. Zero. Okay. But by the logic that he uses, which is childhood trauma causes everything, uh, then anyone who went through the Lebanese civil war should now be dropping dead of diabetes and Lou Gehrig's disease and all the rest of the bullshit he talks about. For every 100 people that have very traumatic childhood, by the way, he doesn't define what childhood trauma is. If my favorite soccer team had lost when I was 10 years old, maybe that is traumatic. If I asked for the Big Mac that I wanted, but my mother refused it because I was trying to gain weight, her refusing the Big Mac was traumatic. Everything is trauma. Everything is related to trauma. None of it is rooted in science. But if he speaks in a very quiet, compassionate voice, you see how compassionate I am? I'm speaking with a low voice because I'm a Holocaust survivor. Because I was a spermatozoa in my dad's testicles, therefore I too was a Holocaust survivor. He's a fraud. He's a charlatan. Okay. But who decides that the people who would put a bullet in his head are the ones that are worthy of his infinite compassion and empathy. Degenerate. That's number one. I'm pissed off. F you, Gabor Maté.